Good afternoon, fellow Ambazonians. Good evening to all Ambazonians across the territory. Patriotic greetings to our liberators and the defendants of our freedom. Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, the leader of the Ambazonian people and the commander-in-chief of Ambazonian forces, has been briefed about the recent diplomatic developments and the political changes that are taking place within Cameroon. There are many factions within the Bia's government which have made negotiations impossible in the past. The military proponents, the military hawks, the people in charge of the current system, led by Gongo and his faction, have finally come to the realization that their plans have failed, that the military option to resolve the political conflict with the Ambazonian people cannot be achieved. First, let's watch a few commentaries that are being made by very renowned personalities within Cameroon. Let's start with the video of Mr. Issa Chiruma, the former Minister of Communication and Minister of Employment and Vocational Training, who is now a candidate for the 2025 presidential election. Let's listen.
I send a note to let him understand that the election in 2025 will be more complex, more difficult, because after 43 years in office, 93 years old, and when our economy is not in good shape, that things were falling apart. When I met my constituents, people were so desperate, angry, and they threatened to stone me if I want to compel them into voting for President Biya. They prevented me from doing so in Marwa. My life was saved because I abstained from pronouncing his name. I understood that things have completely
Thank
changed.
you very much, Essien.
The same thing happened in Garwa.
They almost killed Issa Chiroma in the northern regions of Cameroon, where the population is predominantly Muslims and Fulanis. They almost stoned him. From 2011, Issa Chiroma, who is also an opposition leader in Cameroon, he owns he is the president of his own political party, formed an alliance with Mr. Biya in order to secure the three northern regions of Cameroon for the Muslims within Cameroon, within the three regions of Cameroon, northern regions of Cameroon, to support Mr. Biya candidacy. He did that in 2011 and he did that in 2018. They formed that alliance so that the entire bloc will cast their vote to Mr. Biya. That's a political alliance. It's a political arrangement. So they've done that in the last 14 years. That is his realization that the people in the Grand North are frustrated. They do not want to hear the name Paul Biya. And Issa Chiroma almost lost his life. That's why he decided to secure that political bloc as his constituency for any political negotiation, either with Mr. Biya or anybody else who will come in power. So you have to understand these games. These are all political moves. These are all political overtures for political influence and control. That's what you need to understand. Let's move to what a renowned Cameroonese journalist, Eric Chinger, some of the comments he has made. First, the video about Cameroon being a rudderless ship. Let's watch and listen what he thinks about the state of Cameroon, the state of the economy, and the state of political governance.
Now, when one looks at Cameroon, one gets the feeling of a rudderless ship in the high seas without a captain on board. So the ship of state is lost almost in the high seas. That's what I see when I look at Cameroon. The economy is sinking. It's been a jobless economy for over 10 years, maybe 2 decades.
Okay. That for over 2 decades, as someone who has covered Mr. Biya, as someone who is very familiar with that system, for over 2 decades now, the Cameroon state has had no leadership to run the country. There's more coming to what Mr. Eric Chinger is going to say. Let's go to the second video in which he talked about why it's impossible for the opposition leaders in Cameroon to present a single candidate. Why it's impossible for opposition leaders in Cameroon to rally around a single candidate in order to defeat the current system that has been entrenched for 43 years. Let's watch, let's listen. There's some lessons here for all of you and for everyone.
So we're going into elections where Mr. Biya feels confident going into his 8th term, and there is a general sense that he will win the elections. Of course, he's won the last 7.
Well, this was not the video we asked, but this is also one of the videos we wanted to bring to our people. As Mr. Nagi Tibo predicted last week, Mr. Eric Chinger, a very renowned and experienced journalist, is also now making the prediction. Mr. Biya is going to snatch the elections results. Mr. Biya is going to be proclaimed. Mr. Biya is going to be declared the winner of 2025 presidential election. Now let's go to the video about why opposition leaders in Cameroon cannot present a single candidate. Please.
Been talking about trying to come up with a single candidate, and that it would make sense for the opposition to come up with one candidate who will stand against Mr. Biya. You know, I've talked to almost all of them. I think there's only one of the 11 I haven't spoken to. And without a shadow of a doubt, I can tell you not one of them thinks you should give up to the other. So we can play this song until the chickens come home. There's not going to be a single opposition leader to stand up against Mr. Biya. Why? Essentially that ego and greed.
Essentially, that ego and greed. And this is very important also for the Ambazonian people that have been, clamoring, desiring, and expressing the importance of Ambazonian people to rally around a common leadership. This is an important lesson to all of us. Human beings are not that way. This issue have to be resolved, and we have provided solutions. These are all political negotiations and arrangements that the leaders have to sit together to forge a consensus driven leadership during this phase, and more so during the transition period. Eric Chinger has made a very important statement, something that in ACN, through our analysis, we have said many times. Sometimes it's very important to listen from voices coming from within Cameroon itself and not based on our own research or analysis. Sometimes it's important to listen to those that are speaking from Yaoundé. It's very telling what Mr. Chinja has said and how he described Mr. Biya. Let's listen to what Mr. Chinja said about Paul Biya as a candidate. Let's listen.
They failed the country. That's the first thing. It'll become evidence to all that they failed the country, and that would be the first step to
The video where Mr. Chinja
elections.
called,
We can still change things, in spite of the fact that Mr. Biya has control of the army. Ask the one question. I want to leave you with this, Bernard. Where is Mr. Biya? Show him, bring him out, let him talk to his countrymen and women. Bring out Mr. Biya. Say that over and over and over again. And in the next few weeks, if they cannot bring him out, tell Cameroonians, don't vote for a cardboard elections. We can still change things.
play it one more time for us, please. One more time. It's important for the Cameroonese people, and it's also important for the Ambazonian people. One more time.
Elections. We can still change things. in spite of the fact that Mr. Biya has control of the army. Ask the one question. I want to leave you with this, Bernard. Where is Mr. Biya? Show him, bring him out, let him talk to his countrymen and women. Bring out Mr. Biya. Say that over and over and over again. And in the next few weeks, if they cannot bring him out, tell Cameroonians, don't vote for cardboard elections. We can still change things, in spite of the fact that Mr. Biya has control of the army. Ask the one question. I want to leave you with this, Bernard. Where is Mr. Biya? Show him,
Thank
bring
you
him
very
out,
much,
let him
ACM.
talk to his countrymen and women.
Thank you
Bring
very much.
out Mr. Biya. Say that over and over and over again. And in the next few weeks,
All right. All of this, we take the time to gather some of these comments that are being made by renowned Cameroon political and media personalities to point you to one singular direction. They are making these comments today because Mr. Bia's war in Ambazonia has failed. According to the Cameroon Minister of Finance, the state treasury has nothing left in it to pay public servants, to provide services, basic services to the Cameroonese people in the next 5 months. There is nothing left in the state treasury to cover state bills for the next 4 months, as we are now in September. There's nothing left. The Minister of Finance is out on a mission to find where they can be able to borrow 930 billion CFA to be able to cover the state budget for the next 4 months. So we are moving into 2026. They don't know where, if they don't have the budget, they don't have the money to cover the budget for the next 4 months. Where would they have the money to cover the budget for 2026? The Cameroon debt to GDP ratio, it's now at 54%. It's now at 54%. So whatever they want to spend, if they have to spend 100,000, they have to go borrow another 100,000, or they have to borrow another 104,000. It's not sustainable because they diverted state resources over the last 9 years to the war in Ambazonia. They borrowed billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions to fight a war they can't win. Because they didn't want to lose face to them to admit that they have lost the war, that they have been defeated. It's called political suicide. So there was this division within the CPDM party. Some believed they should get into negotiations. through international systems. Others believe they can use domestic processes, manipulation and deception. So they've tried all of those domestic processes, they have failed. Corruption has failed. Bribery has failed. Assassination has failed. Mass incarceration of Ambazonians has failed. The burning down of community has failed. Forceful displacement of the population has not worked. What it has done is crumble the system itself and put the whole system towards a trajectory of implosion and collapse. Ngongo is finally waking up to the reality that the military solution has failed. In the last 2 weeks, the top Cameroon generals and security leaders, they met and told Mr. Ngongo the problem in Ambazonia cannot be resolved militarily. They are falling short of men. They are now waking up to the reality that the conflict in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia, is attracting thousands of Ambazonia, of Cameroonese trained military personnel, and they are defecting, finding their way out to Ukraine or to fight on the side of the Russians. Financially, it's unsustainable. Politically, it's a suicide mission for them. So when your leader is telling you, I have been briefed, there is a change in tone, there is a change of tone in Cameroon, there is a change of attitude in Cameroon. Many Ambazonians and supporters of the AGOFC, they've accused someone like me of spending more time talking about the colonial state and the political and the changes in the political dynamics within the colonial state than talking about Ambazonia. We are still under occupation. So our people have to understand the changes in dynamics within the colonial state, the political dynamics within the colonial state directly affects the conflict in Ambazonia, directly affects the security in Ambazonia. So it's always important for the Ambazonian people to understand what's happening in the colonial state. That is having a direct effect on their lives and will have a direct effect on their future. We are not doing this thing out of entertainment. I don't do this thing because I don't have things to do with my life. It consumes a lot of my personal time. I do it because there is a vacuum. To provide the quality of
Failed the
political.
country. That's the first thing. It'll become evidence to all that they have failed the country, and that would be.
We need to, if we don't feed our people with the right information, our people will be carried away by propaganda, misinformation, and disinformation campaign. That's why we do these things. We do it because we care. We do it because we have to project who we are and the progress we are making for our people to stay committed and be truthful in the process and be honest in the process and to demonstrate a level of integrity and character in the process. Their lives depend on this. Their future depend on this. It's not for us. So I understand where most of you are coming from. I made some comments yesterday in the community forum about what is really happening. I'm not the most seasoned Ambazonian. I don't have all the knowledge, but I do have some rare knowledge because I'm coming from a very rare background. There are a lot of things that I understand. Most of what you're seeing happening in Ambazonia, including why people accept bribery and corruption from the colonial state, most of you don't even understand that Ambazonians that have publicly called for the killing of ADF fighters, Ambazonians that have murdered ADF fighters, we are sitting in the same room with them, talking about how to build a common front. Most of you don't understand that. The vice president of Ambazonia Governing Council, the leadership of AGOFC, is going above and beyond to make sure we achieve a common front. But it's not going to be done. It's not going to be a manipulative process. It's not going to be a deceptive process. Because we learned a very hard lesson just a few weeks ago, where members of a certain one of the movements decided to hatch another fraudulent scheme to bait the Ambazonia Governing Council to endorse it, because the ultimate motive is always to control the collective funding from the Ambazonian people. That is the ultimate motive to most of all this shouting about unity and collaboration. How do we make sure that we are the movement that controls public funding? So sometimes when you hear about people coming together, it's not because people really want people to come together. It's easy for Ambazonians to unite. I just want to tell you that. But it's going to be done through political compromises. And I'll be talking more about this in the coming weeks. I'll be talking about why Sissekwa Yoktabe is very silent in anything that concerns collaboration. Why he doesn't want to make any public statement in anything that concerns collaboration. Because I've been in some of those meetings with him. I have worked with Sako. I was the leadership strategic advisor to Sako until he started lying to me. And I realized that this guy has nothing to offer the Ambazonian people. It's just a game to scheme the Ambazonian people. As most of you saw, 2018, 2019, he was here in Canada. We hosted him. I had a one-on-one interview with him. Went to the hotel where he stayed, spent time with him and his people. So I have great insights into what is going on than most Ambazonians. Because I'm not speaking from outside, I'm speaking from inside. Have many interactions with all of these leaders, personally and in conferences and groups. I have direct insights. So while Cameroon is, yeah, so all I want to say to all of you is be patient. You are winning. Your victory is here. I told you last week, you are this close. The international system has made an offer to the Ambazonian people. That's why there is a change in tone. That's why there is a change in how the Cameroonese are speaking. That's why there is a change within the military hawks in Cameroon. That's why there's a change of attitude. Because the international system has made an offer to the Ambazonian people. That offer is now on the table. We are this close. There is an offer for you on the table. Cameroon is crumbling. They are buying everyone. And as you've heard from Eric Chinje, where is Mr. Bia? That is the question every Cameroonese journalist should be asking. Where is Mr. Bia, the man who has run Cameroon for the last 43 years? Where is Mr. Bia? Because the Ambazonian people needs to know that any negotiations with Cameroon will be legally binding. If Mr. Bia is the president, is he alive or dead? Will he be the one to authorize it? And if there is an outcome, what if today the Ambazonian people get into a negotiated settlement and in October we all come to the realization that Mr. Bia has been long dead. And so Ngongo has been running the people around and deceiving and manipulating the international system. Then we have to start all over again. That's why the international system is cautious and waiting for what happens in Cameroon. There is an offer on the table for the Ambazonian people. As of now, we need to stay vigilant and we need to stay focused. The leader has been briefed. The the defense chairman of the War Council, will be speaking to the Ambazonian people in the next 2 minutes. And tomorrow, the vice president, the deputy leader, the deputy commander-in-chief, Dr. Julius Nye, will be addressing the Ambazonian people as well. All Money Place Day. All Money Place Day.
They failed the country. That's the first thing. It'll become evidence to all that they failed the country, and that would be the first step to getting rid of government we have today. But they're doing everything in their power, including buying up journalists, and that explains the greed. Buying up journalists and buying up everybody, including traditional leaders, including religious leaders, including administrators. Now, when one looks at Cameroon, one gets the feeling of a rudderless ship in the high seas without a captain on board. So the ship of state is lost almost in the high seas. That's what I see when I look at Cameroon. The economy is sinking. It's been a jobless economy for over 10 years, maybe 2 decades. We've been talking about trying to come up with a single candidate, and that it would make sense for the opposition to come up with one candidate who will stand against Mr. Biya. You know, I've talked to almost all of them. I think there's only one of the 11 I haven't spoken to. And without a shadow of a doubt, I can tell you not one of them thinks you should give up to the other. So we can play this song until the chickens come home. There's not going to be a single opposition leader to stand up against Mr. Biya. Why? Essentially that, ego and greed. Elections. We can still change things in spite of the fact that Mr. Biya has control of the army. Ask the one question. I want to leave you with this, Bernard. Where is Mr. Biya? Show him, bring him out, let him talk to his countrymen and women. Bring out Mr. Biya. Say that over and over and over again. And in the next few weeks, if they cannot bring him out, tell Cameroonians, don't vote for a cardboard today. So we're going into elections where Mr. Biya feels confident going into his 8th term, and there is a general sense that he will win the elections. Of course, he's won the last 7.
I sent a note to let him understand that the election in 2025 will be more complex, more difficult, because after 43 years in office, 93 years old, and when our economy is not in good shape, that things were falling apart. When I met my constituents, people were so desperate, angry, and they threatened to stone me if I want to compel them into voting for President Biya. They prevented me from doing so in Marwa. My life was saved because I abstained from pronouncing his name. I understood that things have completely changed. The same thing happened in Garwa. When I went in Garwa, the environment, the atmosphere were exactly the same thing. The threat was more